afternoon. We are here today with one of our Frederick County aldermen. I'm so excited to be able to see the work that he's doing. Being a new resident here in Frederick, it's always a great thing to just observe leadership. And from our county and from just, I've seen him in church, I've seen him in different places, just giving back, helping the community, leading. It's so impressive. And so I'm excited to be here with him today. First, I want to say thank you to your wife, because when you get into an office like what you're doing now, and you're serving out of the goodness of your heart and doing the work of the people and working hard, you have to always thank your spouse and your family, because that pulls you away from them a lot. I know it does. And so thank you to her, and happy Mother's Day to her for allowing her to let you take a little bit of time out of your day. So thank you to her as well, for happy Mother's Day to her. But we are looking at Jeneen Cares, and the platform for Jeneen Cares is caring, achieving, restoring, empowering, and supporting our youth in Frederick County and beyond. And so I'm doing a series of interviews with people that I call legacy leaders. In Frederick County, we've talked a lot about leadership, and I was a former principal at Ballinger Creek Middle School, and now I am in the Student Services Department, where I spend time training staff members across the county on how to do two things: build community, as well as restoring or managing conflict when it occurs. Now, what family, what organization is without a little bit of conflict? And so as I led as a principal, one of the things that I relied on is teamwork. I believe that teamwork makes the dream work. In every community that I served in, I called it like a family. And so Team BCMS or Team MBMS was a former school that I was at prior to coming to this county. And so it's really important that we build community, but when we have issues in our community, we have to work together to resolve them, together strong. And that's one thing that I can say I'm proud of in Frederick County, and that I'm seeing a lot of. From our board member who is out in the community serving and helping with food deliveries, to the really good communication that I'm seeing from all of our leaders and our officials. It's just been overwhelmingly amazing about the care that I'm seeing. And so I just wanted to touch base with a few of our leaders and share their stories and interview them restoratively. And the questions that I'm using are designed from the training that I had from the International Institute of Restorative Practices. And so you may want to try these questions with someone in your community as well. And so as you listen to the questions that I ask them, know that they are restorative in nature. And so thank you, welcome. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background, your career, and your connection with Jeneen Cares, how you connect with that.
Sure. Jeneen, it's so good to be on with you and talk with you and your audience today. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Today is a sunny day here in Frederick, Maryland, and we have a wonderful community, I must say. Frederick is a special place, not because of its history, not just because of its commerce and economic development here, but because of its people. And it's people like yourself that bring the community together for a common cause. And I just want to thank you for establishing your Jeneen Cares program. And the outcome of it will be tremendous, and it will be a legacy that Frederick will benefit from a long time from now.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my background is starts out in South Central Virginia. Growing up in a farming community, about 13,000 residents, a small town, USA, as you may say. Very as far as demographics, I would say the time that I was there was young families. Everybody's working, textile, furniture industry background there. And I don't know if you're familiar with Bassett Furniture, but we did a lot of, manufacturing furniture there. And great community. Everybody knew each other. In fact, you would go down the road, you just have a hand in your windshield, waving at people, you know. But wonderful family that I grew up in. Mom and dad um, had a very nice upbringing. Decided to leave Martinsville, Virginia, and go to Richmond, Virginia, to go to school, Virginia Commonwealth University. Had no idea that I would go to college. I thought the vision of my world was either being a police officer or a firefighter. And I chose to go to college because of my cousin, that had gone to VCU and had a good experience. And I only applied to one college, and I got in successfully. Had a great time at VCU, probably the best experience that I've ever had in my entire life. Spent 4 years there. Graduated VCU with a bachelor's in information systems and computers. Got a job in Washington, D.C. With IBM. Worked there for about 20 years. Fast forward, during that 20 years, we got married, moved here to Frederick, Maryland. Frederick, Maryland reminded us a lot of home. What brought us here to Frederick was my wife's company, State Farm Insurance, relocated her here from Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh.
And, we never looked back. We had been all over the world, all over the country, and with IBM. And once we came here to Frederick, we said, hey, this is it. This is where we're going to retire. Just a wonderful community. All three of our girls were born here, Hallie, Zoe, and Gabrielle. And they've had a wonderful, enriching education experience, public education experience, and it's just been great. The community here is loving, caring, and we decided that this is going to be a place that we stay. I had the fortunate to run for office in 2017 and run to be a city council member, or alderman, as is identified here or characterized here in the city of Frederick. City of Frederick is about 75,000 residents, and it'll be about 100,000 residents probably in the next 15 years. We're growing that fast. It is the second largest city in the state of Maryland, behind Baltimore City. And we just love it here. Taxes are low, education system is great, our water system, everything that you can think of, the quality of life is here in Frederick, and we love it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. That is one of the reasons why I selected Frederick as well. I know that it's growing and people are coming in. I saw that in my growth and enrollment over the 3 years that I served at Ballinger Creek Middle School. I also appreciate, right now, as a result of my marriage a year ago, it will be 2 years in August, we have 5 students enrolled. And so I get to see that perspective as a parent and as an administrator still working in the county. So I definitely agree. The family, the care, the commitment of the staff members in the county and the school district and in the community is just amazing. I love my neighbors already. We've moved twice, or I've moved twice since I've been here. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So what have you been thinking about as the crisis continues to unfold?
So COVID-19 really has touched our world in a way that that we in our generation will never forget. And not only the world, but the local community and state. We have seen just tremendous change in the way we live, the way we interact, the way we go about our daily lives every day. And, the thing that kind of wears down on me daily is what does the new norm look like,
Right.
after we come out of this? And How do we do our jobs? How do we um, go to school, and how do we interact with our neighbor? Um, it's just going to be different, and we need to adjust to that. Now, history shows us that America is a resilient country.
Absolutely.
We are a resilient people, and Frederick is um, included in that resilience. And we've seen just tremendous volunteerism and people stepping up to help others,
Yes.
during a crisis. Um, but the thing that worries me is our mental capacity, our mental health, and how we come out of this and what type of change that will occur. People have lost their jobs. People have had to find child care that was not in place before. So things are going to be different. It's not going to be back to the way it was, and um, we're seeing how this virus uh, is contagious, and what's next?
Right.
What's next? And that concerns me. It has exposed our healthcare system, the weaknesses in our healthcare system, where people that didn't have healthcare, how do they get tested, and how do they interact with the healthcare system? Um, it has exposed the inequities, in our community, for our students that do not have access to technology, and even our adults, parents that do not have access to technology. Uh, what is that? What does that mean going forward? Um, People are now doing telehealth, okay, and interacting with their physicians and their primary care. Um, that's different. If you don't have a computer at home, if you don't have a computer with a camera, um, that's a challenge. Okay? Um, it has exposed weaknesses in our economic system, in our institutions. When people go to apply for unemployment, and they can't get on, they can't get access to unemployment benefits. Uh, that is an embarrassment from a state perspective, where we were not ready. Our infrastructure, not only in technology, but skills. They're having to go back and get nurses and doctors retired, bring them back. Law enforcement, they first responders, they need those individuals that are retired, to bring them back. So this COVID-19 is, I think it's almost like I look at it as a warning shot, to America and to our community, that we don't have the infrastructure, but we need to get on it. And really, there's no playbook for leaders
Right.
in the community and throughout the country. This has never happened before, but I'm glad it did, because it exposed something that where we're weak and we're not strong, that we need to jump all over and fix. So.
Absolutely. That's a great way to think of it. It's always important to put things in perspective, but also to be very optimistic. And then one of the quotes that I heard recently was, "It's not about the situation, but it's how you come out of the situation." And I'm not quoting that exactly correctly, but it's all about your perception of it, right?
Yeah.
And So I'm glad that you mentioned mental health, because it is May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so please, if anyone is listening and they know someone or they feel like they need to see someone, please take advantage. There's lots of information out there on how to get access to teletherapy, as you just shared. We also want to thank our community partners, because you also referenced a little bit of some of our disproportionalities or are things that are about disadvantaged students or families, right? And so we have SHIP as one of our partners in Frederick. They are doing a really good job of trying to assess needs. And so if there's anyone, again, out there listening that needs an opportunity to get supports or resources, look out and think about SHIP as one of our partners. So thank you for that insight, and thank you for those thoughts about what you're feeling. And I know it's got to be hard to be humble and vulnerable enough to say, as a leader, that you're feeling like that there are some areas of growth, because we always want to feel like we're perfect and we've done everything right. But humility is really important, and reflection. And so I'm glad that you as a leader are seeing the opportunity that's going to arise, and that's going to allow for us to continue to strengthen. And Together Strong has been my motto for a while. And so out of the things that you're thinking about, and that's a lot that's on your mind, what is the hardest thing for you personally?
Personally, I was thinking, just being still. I for the last 10 years, I've been on the go and constant. And, the governor, issued a stay-at-home order and basically said, remain in your home, because if you go outside of your home, you are putting others at risk. You're putting yourself at risk. And so remaining still, remaining at home, okay, has been a challenge. And again, I'm an extrovert. I like being out and involved in my community, engaging in my community and with others. And so I'll say, from a personal perspective, it's caused me to, taking a self-assessment of what's important in my life, and why, and kind of reset. I hit the reset button to say that, being gone and, being on the go, that's not important. What's important is focusing on things that bring you happiness and bring you joy. Okay. And that's been my biggest thing, is that, remaining still is a challenge. And, you have to be disciplined to do that. Now, I've had the opportunity to get some things done around the house, may I say, and things that were, I would walk by each day and say, I get to it.
Right.
But I've had that opportunity to get those things done, and also, connecting with my family. I think it's been a joy and a benefit of this COVID-19 crisis. Is I call daily to people, just different people that I haven't contacted in a while, and I'm just checking on them, and it's forcing me to reach out to people and just say, hey, how you doing? What have you been up to? I think that's been a true benefit. So.
Absolutely. I would agree. I am also an extrovert. And so being still, not so much. I can focus on a lot of things at one time and still get things done. So I think that I share that kind of moment with you. I think that I have appreciated getting personal phone calls from people, getting personal text messages. And today for Mother's Day, when I received those messages coming in, and I've just been showered with love, and happy Mother's Day to my mom, Elizabeth Stewart, and Torrance's mother, Edith Beck, happy Mother's Day. But just those personal connections. I used to like send a text message back. Today, even before I got dressed, I was in the bed, I sent messages back to people virtually. Like I made a little video talking to them individually and sent them a message back. And it's been just so great. And one of the things that I've been doing is the Zoom calls, and like I could never, being an administrator has been pretty busy. And so I never got to my Girls High class of 93 class reunions. And so for the first time, I finally got to a reunion virtually. And so I agree that the opportunities for personal connections, and for us as leaders to really think about the priorities in our life and make sure that we make time for those in a authentic and an important kind of a way. I remember in my leadership training, they talked to us about making sure that we had those 2 hours a day that was dedicated to uninterrupted family time. And I try to make sure that I continue to do that. So we are deeming this series that I'm doing right now, I'm calling it Legacy Leaders. And I thank you for your legacy leadership. And so as a leader, I need to hear from you. What are some of the positive things that are in your control? Because there's a lot that we can't control. We have restrictions. So what are some of the positive things that are in your control that you're doing really for self-care?
For self-care?
Or just in general positive things that you're doing?
Yeah. So as far as a personal, what I do daily is I go walking, getting exercise. There's um, a shared use path by the river, Monocacy River, behind our uh, housing, residential community. And I go back there, and it's just very peaceful. All you hear are the birds chirping, and you know, it's just an opportunity for me time that you know a lot of people in my role don't get, is that me time. And you know, you turn off the phones, you turn off you know the technology, and you concentrate on me, and that's been a benefit. Um, Also, as I mentioned earlier about you know connecting with people, calling people, and that's a lot of therapy there. It's a huge benefit for me is kind of making sure that I stay in contact with others. I've been working with the nonprofits here in Frederick, and also the church's faith-based organizations to make sure that whatever services, community services that they're providing in the community, that goes disrupted, so uninterrupted. So I really feel that um, my time, you know, during this COVID-19 crisis has been a positive. It has not been a negative. It's been an opportunity for me to kind of take a step back and um, do things differently and reprioritize you know what my life is about and what I want to do in the future. So
Awesome. I appreciate hearing the walks, and I think that's great because you are getting that physical activity there, and you're getting the mental break as well. I appreciate
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate Baker Park. At least on 3 occasions, when the cabin fever was a little too much for me, I would go over to Baker Park, and I wouldn't just go and walk, but I would go and listen to nature, because nature is not experiencing the crises that we are experiencing. And so, watching the birds and listening to them and taking pictures, it's been a beautiful thing to see. Our city of Frederick nature-wise, and still enjoy
Yep.
that as well. So our last question, because I am looking to provide supports to our youth, what advice do you have for youth or parents of youth?
Well, I think public education is that great equalizer. You know, it's that opportunity that is afforded to everyone, and I tell my girls and I tell my um, young people that I mentor. I have an intern that's now he's in the 12th grade at Frederick High.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
graduating this year, and I told him that the thing that no one the world can't take away from you is a skill. If you can get a skill, people will pay for, and um, focus that skill, and it will apply to anything that you do in your life. You will change jobs multiple times, but having a skill set that goes with you. When you go to college, focus on getting a skill, not just that degree, but a skill that you can use for the rest of your life. And I um, I encourage young people to also to stay focused on what's important in life, and family is definitely important, but doing good is also important. And
Absolutely.
doing good, um, not only um, somebody's not when somebody's looking at you, but also when somebody's not looking at you. You know, doing good is good for the world, is good for your country, is good for your community. And volunteering, giving back is extremely valuable. At IBM, one of the things they taught us was that you're going to be evaluated each year on your job performance based on how you demonstrated how you gave back to the community in which you live.
Very
And,
nice.
and so that was instilled in me. And something that I always tell young people is that you just don't sleep in your community. You just don't um, live in your community. You have to get involved, get engaged in your community. You owe that to the next generation to make the next generation um, feel valued, and that they will grow up in a better world. Once you leave it. So those two things. Making sure that you're giving back and that you find a skill. Um, but the third thing is taking care of yourself, um, making sure that you're in good mental health, that you're exercising on a regular basis. I think is an extreme benefit in the world that we live in. That is anxiety filled. um, it's getting the proper exercise and taking care of your mental health is extremely important. So, and you're going to see that play out more as our technology becomes a necessity, much like water. Um, it is a something that's going to it can either weigh us down as a from a human perspective, or it can, if we use it right, it can benefit us and it can benefit the entire world. But um, technology, again, will be um, something of a necessity, much like water, as we go forward. That we will see that the next generation will see, and a generation that follows. So.
Absolutely. And I'm so proud again of our school district of getting technology into the hands of our students and having professional learning, prior to this for staff to be able to implement and use the technology has been a wonderful thing. I know that we were one-to-one at Ballinger before I left that middle school. And then, so I appreciate what you just said in the technology. And I see from my first grader up to my 12th grader how important technology is. So I definitely agree with that one. You also mentioned service. Wow. I know that you're a member, right, of a fraternity?
Yeah, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Right? So
Yeah,
thank you for their service. And I know they do a wonderful job, from the Necktie Club to giving out scholarships every year, to their community service work as well.
yeah, yeah. That and I'm a member of Rotary here in Frederick, and they're focused on community service as well. And all the work that I've done so far as an elected leader, I established a youth advisory council, the first of its kind in the city of Frederick and Frederick County as well, that will give young people, young adults, ages 14 to 18 years of age, an opportunity to be a part of their community and be engaged in their local government and understanding their local government. Local government has more impact on you in your daily lives than the federal government, than the president, than Congress of alike. They, local government, impacts you every day. The roads that you drive, the water that you turn on, the showers that you take, um, the food that you eat, okay, it impacts you. It impacts you. And I want young people to understand that, get more involved in their community, and be engaged in knowing and understanding, uh, you know, how the world works, through the community. So that Youth Advisory Council is what, 2 years going now,
Nice.
and so it's been very successful. I would encourage any student that's aged 14 to 18 that attends a school in the city of Frederick to apply and be a part of that Youth Advisory Council. It's a great way to understand and learn leadership skills, and definitely will benefit you in your career as you go forward.
Awesome. So they're already building legacy leaders. That's awesome. I love that. And I agree that financial literacy and understanding politics and the government is really important for our youth as well. Local businesses, we have to support them, and we have to give back to our community to make it continue to be strong. I want to say happy Teacher Appreciation to all of our teachers as we close out Teacher Appreciation Week. They really need the whole year to celebrate all the work that they do. I want to say happy Nurses Appreciation Week. And I also heard that it was PPW's week this week. So happy PPW week to all of our PPWs. And again, we want to thank our first responders for all that they're doing. I want to thank our custodial crews because they're working hard to sanitize, to make sure that things, are okay. And so we just want to thank everyone who's been working hard in our community still. And so thank you for your time today. I really appreciate getting a chance to sit down and interview and hear from you and learn the things that you're talking about in the community and doing and managing, and just sharing some insight into how people are coping. I'm glad that things are well and that your family are healthy. Family is healthy. And so thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Jeneen. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great Mother's Day, everyone.